And welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm Dio. Let's talk. My guest of the evening is an artist, is an entrepreneur, multi-talented, right? Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Jay Henry. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for the welcoming to your podcast. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you for joining me. It's an honor having you here to get to know you and talk about what you're doing. You're doing a lot. You got music coming out. You got an album. Uh, you got so many things going on. Where do we start?
Where do we start? Let's see. Let's start with were we kind today?
Okay.
That's a great start,
Yeah,
great place to like ground yourself. Like, oh, was I kind to people today? I'd say yeah. What about you?
man. Yeah, it was a good day so far.
Yeah.
Good day.
And
Good
you're on the
day.
East Coast, so you're
Yeah.
ahead of me. You only have like a couple hours left.
Yeah.
Hopefully you continue to be kind. You seem like a kind person. So
Man, I
no
try to
one,
be. I do my best when it comes to that.
yeah,
I'm not perfect. I do, I have my temper. I'm very a direct person, but I do my best, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I feel it. I mean, direct can be kind as long as it's,
Hmm.
landed kindly, as long as it's candor and not criticism.
Hmm.
It could be constructive criticism, I guess, but
Yeah.
you just don't want to be an asshole.
Oh man, that's hard because that's just like,
It's just in your blood.
yeah. I
Sometimes, I don't
mean,
know.
life, sometimes life happens and
Yeah.
you don't know how you become it, but due to trial and error and things just happening in life, like you from others for others is a curse, others a blessing. For me it's half and half, and you become this person and all I try to do is try to work on a better version of me. That's all I can do.
That's all you can do. Yeah, exactly. We're always going to slip up. We're human.
Yeah.
But as long as we're mindful of that and practicing growth, like that's what life's all about. It's about the journey. It's not about like some perfect endpoint.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So
Yeah.
talk to me about your music. What's going on with that? How long you been doing it? What inspired you to do it?
Yeah. So I've been in music for quite a while, since I was like 15.
Oh,
I've
nice.
always had this dream of having an album, right? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I was from the era where you could burn CDs,
I was
and then
I was pre that. I was
you were
cassettes.
pre that. Okay, we're talking like mixtapes. You have little cassette tapes.
Yes, yes, man.
Yeah, those are. I feel like that medium is lost, and like
Yeah,
there's such a tangible like appreciation for music at that point.
yeah.
It's kind of a shame that we don't have it as much anymore, but. Yeah, my first album didn't have any actual songs on it, but I had a CD labeler. So for all
Hmm.
my burned CDs, I could like create an actual label for it. And I
Nice.
remember my name was Biggie Fat, Big
Wow.
E.Phat. Some like random name I came up with in middle school. And this album, I forget what it was called, but it had like a track list on it of songs that I intended to write but never did. And it had flames on it because that's what you did back in the early
That's super
2000s.
dope, right? Super
You
cool.
put flames on everything. And yeah, so I always had like this fascination of like, I want to make an album. I really want to like convey these experiences and these emotions. Um, But when I went to college, I also grew up incredibly poor. And so I went to college to make money and be successful and blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah. And, I think most people would agree the music and entertainment business is a risky business
Yeah.
to jump into, and the odds of making it are fairly slim. So at some point, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to pursue this psychology degree and then go get some job in marketing or something. So I did all that. And then 2 years ago, for my wedding, I wanted to surprise my husband with a song that I wrote for him.
Okay.
And I wrote a play to go with the song. Like it was this whole creative endeavor, and I loved it so much. I'm like, I just want to get back into it. I want to satiate that creative side of me that I let sort of starved for 10 plus years because I was so focused on professional career and money and blah, 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 which can be rewarding in its own way, but um, not in the
That
same way.
it's not fulfilling.
It's not fulfilling. It is harder to be fulfilling because I
Yeah.
think it's acceptable to be in a position where it's like, well, that's just my work. I can hate my work and that's acceptable,
Hmm.
which is like a whole nother conversation that I disagree with. But yeah. So anyway, that's how I got back into it. And then now I have an album. It doesn't have flames on it, but it's still cool, I think.
What's the name of it?
It's called Love J. Henry.
Nice. How many? What's the track list? What's the name of the songs?
Yeah. So it's 11 songs.
Okay.
And I grew up 90s hip hop, early 2000s hip hop, so there's like skits on it and
Hmm.
all that jazz. Um, the skits are actually from my wedding, the play I wrote. We recorded it, so I took snippets of it and created this narrative thread throughout the entire album. Um, and it's about love. It's about this multifaceted journey through a very human experience. I think most people either have gone through it or seek it themselves. And it's just about like the trials and tribulations of someone going through having a hyperbolic sense of what love should be, hopeless romantic, figuring out that love actually is not that, struggling with understanding it, and then coming to a place of like, how can I grow from this experience and really understand myself
Hmm.
through it all? Ultimately coming to self-love.
How long did it take you to record, develop the whole album?
It took me about 2 years.
Okay.
Um, so, I mean, the concept was there pretty immediately because, again, I wrote this play. So the structure was there. But, and I'm very story and character driven.
Hmm.
And so most of the time was spent both making sure the story and the story arc and the character development made sense. Um, and then also making sure that sonically the ideas that I had were actually coming through. Because, I had some pretty audacious goals of I want a big band jazz sound, then I'm gonna
Hmm.
rap over it. So it's
Hmm.
very Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole sort of sounding. But
Oh,
then
super
all
dope, super cool.
yeah, on another track it's more orchestral, Vivaldi, think like Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor, but like to an nth degree, where it's just violins all over the place. So there's like some big composition ideas that I needed to execute, and it took some time to really figure out how to do that.
So would you say like the beat, the foundation is based on composed of instrumental rather than your regular Fruity Loops and things like that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
Wow,
did
that's
find some
amazing.
loops for some of the songs. So like Splice, I'd go on there. Um, but they were very much in line with the rest of the sonic sort of makeup of the album. And I think that was probably on two or three of the songs.
Mm,
Again, I grew up during a time where I guess it's still the case, but maybe not as much. Ninth Wonder was one of my favorite producers, Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor, Kanye West, The College Dropout, where, the sample is just as important as the lyrics, right? Because it provides a backdrop of the story. It provides a little piece of the story, the puzzle that they're trying to convey and create. And so I'm very intentional about that piece as well. I'm not just going and finding loops. It's like, let me find something where if someone dug into this song, they'd come out and be like, oh, damn, that's crazy that he picked that sample because it has this history to it.
nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, when you were done and you finished, it was complete. Who was the first person you let listen to the 11 tracks?
I mean, I live with the guy, so my husband.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it was like 10 p.m. Put the finishing polish on it. And it started out as a love letter to him, you know. I don't know, call me a hopeless romantic. And so, but over the course of creating it, I realized this album actually was more for me. Um, and so one way I could answer that is I let myself really just sit in it and be proud of the work that I put together. And all of the like uncovering of myself that happened throughout the entire process.
Nice. So what was the feedback like? Like what was your husband's first impression when he heard basically your masterpiece?
Masterpiece. He hated it. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. He's like, don't put this out. I mean, he loved it, right? I think people gravitate towards music that has clear emotional intentions.
Mhm.
It's hard to hate a song where it's easy to pull out the feelings and the experiences that the creator ingrained into the music, into the lyrics, into the expression of those words. And so the only negative feedback I've ever received is from random people on Instagram that just want to hate me that day. And that's fine.
Well, you know,
Whatever.
we can't. Don't read the comments, first of all. Don't read the comments, right?
These
Because,
comments are wild.
you know, like at the end of it, you have to do what you love. And when you do what you love, you come with a full understanding that when you finally hear or see your craft, there's always a room for improvement, right?
Yeah.
Like that takes this platform like my podcast, right? When I first started, it's nowhere near what is it now? From even I tend to slur my words, even speaking sometimes, even editing it drives me crazy because there's always room for improvement. But you would
Yeah.
never know how how it is if you don't do it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the process. You doing it and understanding the next one. Okay, maybe I gotta do vocals like this, or maybe I should fix the instrumental here, or maybe
Yeah.
the song hasn't shouldn't be this lengthy, you know.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you have to do it for the first time and actually see what it is to realize what's next.
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of this phrase I heard yesterday, actually. It was from a podcast called The Diary of a CEO.
Mm,
Have you heard of that?
no.
No. So it's just a podcast with a bunch of CEOs on it. Anyway, there's this guy.
I love how you just played.
Yeah.
No biggie.
Yeah. Um, and there's this guy on there. He is the owner of a company called Everyday Spy. So he was an ex-CIA spy,
Mm,
right? And he got out and now he's runs this company. And he said, in the military or in like special operations or something, they have this phrase called excellence through execution, right?
mm,
You can sit there and plan all you want, but the more you try to perfect your plan, the more you're not learning what that plan should be, right? And so in the startup world, which is where my, full-time job is, um, it's the same thing. It's just called something different. It's called fail fast, right? And it's just the notion of kind of what you were saying, get out there and do it
hmm
because that's how you learn how you're supposed to improve and what you're supposed
hmm
to improve on, right?
Yeah,
Excellence through execution.
yeah. It's the essential what an entrepreneur is.
Yeah,
Like you went to college, right? And you'll get these tools, right? You'll learn stuff, things you probably knew or never knew. But when it's time to now to go to practice, it's like, yeah, you got these tools, but where do I start? How do I
yeah,
start? You know,
yeah,
what I got these tools, but what do I use them for?
right.
So like I usually have real estate people on the show sometimes, and there was this gentleman earlier in the beginnings. His name was Sekou Pile. I call him the Grand Master, right? And he usually does these online seminars, and we're like cold calling all that, and he's constantly repeating this, and where he tells everyone that you have to make a mess.
Hmm.
You have to make a mess
Yeah,
because if you don't, then how would you learn?
yeah, yeah. I mean, to be completely honest, that's what this album is about, right?
Mhm.
I think a common thing we hear is don't get into a relationship until you truly understand yourself or until you're like one with yourself, right?
That's difficult.
I
It's
think it's
not
difficult,
impossible, but it's not impossible, but difficult.
super difficult. And I think it's the wrong advice,
Hmm.
right? And I say that because of what we just talked about, like the amount of stuff I learned about myself because I was in a
Hmm.
relationship
In a
and
marriage, not to
I was
mention.
in a marriage,
Yeah.
right? You can't leave at that point. I guess you could, but
Yeah.
um, and and being willing to reflect on that and be like, okay, well, this is obviously where I need to grow. I couldn't learn that if I was just single, right? And saying, well, I'm working on myself. Like, no, you're not. You
Yeah.
know, no, you're not. We only know ourselves through the relationships we have,
Hmm.
right? And so go have some relationships.
Yeah.
Figure out who you are.
And yet, even when having them, you still don't know who you are.
I still don't know who I am.
You know, because you get sometimes. I've been married for 9 years now. Next year I make 10. Right, that's a decade. And you know, in a marriage, there's so many ups and downs, and we're like, you tend to lose yourself. And it's
Mhm.
because you've given so much of yourself to the person you idolize, the person you chose to say I do towards, right?
Yeah,
And which is not bad, but yet again, you lose yourself. You
yeah,
don't know where you're at. Time is very it's very fuzzy.
yeah,
And then you gotta take a step back, and as you get older, you realize it's a balance. Like a lot of people like to say, I have a friend, Nick. He says, you got to get 200, 200. No, you never get 200. You get 50-50.
yeah,
It's 50 is for you, and the other 50 is for me. Because then that 50, I have to find a way to improve myself, whatever that is, so that the next time I give you the 50, I'm a better version. And we're
yeah,
connecting, right? And we come
yeah,
100. And that's just all about. That's how you keep the flame on. That's how you build better communication, better life skills, a better relationship. And yet,
yeah.
it's not. It sounds easy, but it's not that easy, right?
It's not easy at all. No. But, the cliche, nothing worth having is easy.
That is very true.
Yeah. And
Yep.
this is coming from someone who loved rom-coms and was a hopeless romantic, still am. But also has realized like, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Can I cuss on this podcast?
Yes, you can.
There you go. Yeah, all that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also, it's not a horrible thing to want,
Hmm.
right? A little of that, the romance and, you know, Sleepless in Seattle, like
Yeah.
all the 90s rom-coms, like
Yeah.
idealization of what a relationship is, just come with the realization that it's not always like that.
Yeah. It's not an everyday thing,
No.
right? It's not an every day thing, and we're like you think everything's gonna be Valentine's Day. Shit happens all the
Yeah.
time, and you do your best, and hopefully, you'll live a good life where the small moments become more than negative moments, you know,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so is this your first album officially?
Officially, yeah. First album. Hopefully not my last.
Hopefully.
Um, I have plans for another one. I'm actually thinking of turning this album into a play. Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of creatively where my head's at. It just feels appropriate.
Yeah. Did you envision it to be like a play or like, okay, let me get some editors. Let's shoot a film. Let's make an adult animation film or something like that, a La La Land form of that nature.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe both. Who
Mm.
knows? So I'd say right now I'm thinking of short film. And I'm just chatting with people around the Seattle area that are just really great. cinematographers and directors to get their idea and learn. I mean, I've never directed a film. I never wrote a film script or anything, so it's all new to me. But I don't know. I love that process.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'll probably start there, and then through that, understand how does that adapt to a live play setting. Um, and I'd say that's ultimately where I want it to go, I think.
Okay.
Very Hamilton.
Okay. Miguel Miranda. Okay. I got it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
I'm part Latino.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay. Glad to be
Well,
here.
it only takes you starting and see where it goes from there. You already got the album, right?
Yeah.
And have you shown it? Is it out there? Where can people find it?
Yeah, so it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it may be on Deezer. I don't use Deezer personally,
Hmm.
but the two major streaming platforms,
Apple and Spotify.
Apple and Spotify, yeah. It'll be on YouTube soon. I just need to upload all those tracks. There's something with YouTube Music where it didn't upload, but
So make sure when you do it, make sure it's your account, right? Make sure
hmm.
before you upload it into the public, you got copyright everything that's yours because people like to steal.
Really? What do you mean by that?
Well, you want if you have a piece of art, right, and you
Uh,
created it and you want to be able to profit out of that, right?
yeah,
Why would you put it out there and not create a form of ownership? I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I'm putting this out there, but this is mine.
right.
You just put it out there, and anybody could sample it. Anybody could use it. Anybody could take your creativity and I'll use it for them. And then
Yeah,
what do you get?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, totally agree.
Um,
I think that's going to change in the future. This is my like 2030 hot take.
mm,
2035. I think with AI, it's going to force us to change um, intellectual property and copyright and how it's shared online in the same way YouTube has already started to try to do that with their
hmm
content ID situation.
hmm
I think we're going to see more of that through Instagram and TikTok and all the generative AI that's using content to train their models, that will allow us to track something more accurately.
hmm
I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I don't know. It kind of feels like we're heading in that direction, which on one hand is fantastic because creators should be able to get
Yeah.
royalties when their stuff is used, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they already do it with like Instagram and where you could be Instagram and Facebook before you can use a video with somebody else's music, right? And depending on the account you have, they'll restrict it because
Hmm.
unless you give them like permission or state something along the line, you do not own this music, you're not
Hmm.
be able to use it.
Oh, really?
To my understanding, I'm not sure if it's because in social media you got a creator account, you got a business account, you got a regular account. So I'm
Right.
not sure what option of that it is, but like I know something like that.
Yeah.
But you want to like log into Master United or something like that it's called and copyright it, put it in. I
Oh,
think it's
right.
it's free
Yeah.
because the most you will think a person is creative, they're not that really creative.
Yeah.
Especially you got rappers, right? And I'm sorry to say this, well, I'm not sorry to say this, is that a lot of rappers come from the hood, right? And
Yeah.
then that first album is fire. That second album is, it's okay. That third album, right? And we're like, you can't rap about the struggle because you've been rich for the last, 6, 7 years, right?
Yeah.
So where do you go? What is your storytelling? Especially if you're not a good writer,
Right.
especially if you don't got rhymes. So
Right.
what they'll do is, they'll go on YouTube, right? Because is it JD from So Atlanta? A lot of people they find them on YouTube,
Hmm.
they'll take their content away, right? And
Yeah.
because nobody copied it, let me use your stuff.
Wow, interesting.
That's reality.
Hmm. So what Drake did? I'm just kidding. I don't need to go into that. I can see that though. I mean, like we talked about, the music business is challenging to be in for sure.
Hmm.
But that, I mean, that's a good point. I think most of the songs are on ASCAP, but I'll double check that now.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, the story of the struggling artist, right, is that he's broken point, he's making amazing work, right?
Yeah,
But it gets to a point where, like, you know, you want to be able to live off your art,
yeah,
of your passion, of your creativity, things you put work towards, right?
yeah.
Imagine out a life in where you do all that and somebody else is benefiting off that. What did it
Right.
mean, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you wrote this one half for you, but one half love letter to your husband, and some other motherfuckers benefit out of your emotional uh trajectory of love.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that. Doesn't that happen today with Spotify? Like, this is my biggest issue with,
Mhm.
like, when I was thinking about, well, where do I distribute this album, right? Everyone, almost unanimously, people say, well, put it on Spotify. That's how you get the most awareness, how you get the biggest audience, or what have you, which personally I think is a sham.
Mhm.
But um, you put it on Spotify and you get pennies on the dollar, and
Yes.
Spotify's making money off of your
Hmm.
art, right? And
Hmm.
it's just kind of the expectation that you know, shut the fuck up and take it, right? And then you go make money performing through merchandise, right? Which hypothetically is not your art. It's a uh, representation of your art, right? But it's not the actual thing that you wanted to make money off of, right?
Hmm.
It's such a fascinating world we live in where that's kind of just accepted, right?
It's
And
n-
part of
it,
it is,
it's not accepted, right? And I'm gonna tell you why, right? It's who are you, right? Right now they took the same business planning as what Marvel did to their writers for the last 5 year before and the last 5 year after, and this is give or take, I'm rough rounding. They own whatever you write,
uh,
right? If you look at Spotify, if you're a new artist, right? You open your account, you do all this stuff, you upload music, you're no one. You're
yeah,
just you're just waiting. You're just waiting for a moment for you can and be
yeah,
big, right? And then what happens? People don't pull their shit out. And now you're somebody and you go to negotiate with them. No, they just let it there. So nothing changes. You're still getting, what you said, penny on your dollars.
yeah,
Not doing nothing. You got to
yeah,
leverage. You got to learn how to leverage your who you are,
yeah, your brand.
right? Like in YouTube, people. You know what I hate about people in YouTube, man?
What?
I hate that people brag about views and not making money. You don't make you don't make money out of views. You make money out of ads.
Oh, yeah.
So if people are not watching those ads, and as you grow, the ad gets more expensive.
Hmm.
So if people are not watching your ad, you're not making money.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So you have to, if not learn, master the business.
Oh, for sure.
You know, because
Yeah.
you want to eat, right? You want to one day leave that 9 to 5, and do something happy.
Yeah.
They empowered you, makes you want to live.
Yeah.
You gotta know the business.
Yeah. 100% agree. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is like, as a small artist, as an independent artist,
Mhm.
how do you manage this entire business? And I think that's a huge gap. Maybe we're seeing some tools come out where um, that it's making it a little bit more accessible
Hmm.
to run your music as a business. But there's still an opportunity to create something that's a little bit more holistic. In the same way, if I went and started a coffee shop, there's a bunch
Hmm.
of tools for me to leverage. I guess like hypothetically as a independent artist can leverage those, but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something to be said about a niche product that's very pointed towards music and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just education around it. And because, like you said, it's at the end of the day, once you put it out, it's no longer just music, it's business,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you want to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly. Exactly. And why not? And that's what you know, that's that argument where like I just want to do music. I just want to make me happy. But
yeah,
sometimes what makes you happy doesn't pay the bills. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
Like I've been doing this for 4 years. I've I've uh I've learned so many I've seen so many curveballs. You know, I've
yeah,
been just with my own content. I'm very overprotecting my own content. You know,
yeah,
a lot of people would like me to send them original file. No, you know, like understanding how the business works is very important.
right.
Understand that if you know what you need to do, how you need to invest your product, right? Because you're an independent artist. You have to take the money earned, invest it back in yourself, and continue growing. You got
Yeah,
to promote. You got to advertise. You know,
yeah,
you got to do shows. You got to, essentially, you got to work it out,
yeah,
and it's a lot of work. And as you know, and as you get bigger, you're gonna have to get, you know, invest in your own studio or get an assistant, you know, or hire a company to advertise because that's a pain in the ass because you
yeah,
can't do it all,
yeah, yeah,
and that's what it is.
yeah. Yeah, I've actually gotten really big into learning about like productivity, but also like how do you buy back your time?
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called Buy Back Your Time. Super fascinating. But it goes through this framework of like as an entrepreneur, as a CEO of your company,
Mm-hmm.
right? At what point should you be thinking about, I should pay someone to do this thing because it's more expensive for me to do it as the CEO because I
Mm-hmm.
could go be doing something that
Mm-hmm.
actually makes more money,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's kind of the mind state I'm at from a business perspective because I've already created the music. So now I'm in this mode of like, okay, well, how do I grow the business
Mm-hmm.
with this product that I now
Mm-hmm.
have? So I actually did hire someone for like a couple hours a week to help me with all the random stuff
Mm-hmm.
that it takes a lot of time
Yeah.
and sucks,
Especially marketing, right? You're in the music
especially marketing.
business. You want to be able to market yourself. That's key.
Yeah.
In any business, market yourself. And that's money that you will want to spend money on because it's a lot of work. You know, you have to be a graphic designer. You got to know where to advertise. What's the best place to advertise? You know, like for me, like example, like I used to be real big on Instagram.
Hmm.
I hate Instagram because you know I'm 35. I'm not a young kid anymore.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are young, but I started understanding my demographic and how people are finding me through Facebook, right?
Oh.
So I noticed I started uploading my videos there,
Hmm.
my page. My following has gone up. My views on my videos, you know, it used to be, you know, 100 and 300, 400, 500, you know, and it's easier and accessible to share. So
Hmm.
you want to be able to be accessible,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people who start a product or start, let's say, like a podcast, right? They quickly want to go to these platforms and they want people to pay to come and see you. But if they don't know who you are, why am I wasting my money?
Yeah.
If I don't know what you're about, why am I wasting my money?
Yeah.
So you want to be able to, you know, make a YouTube like Rumble. I like Rumble because Rumble it's a non-censored platform. It's a YouTube alternative.
Hmm.
It's easier to make money, but you want to be accessible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And once you understand that, you're following, you grow the money. You'll see it start piling up.
Yeah. 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 Accessible. And something else you said that I'll just pull out is um provide people the context as to why it's important to buy your product, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is the hook? What
Mm-hmm.
is the emotional connection? What is the, if this was an actual product, you think about what's that
Yeah.
feature that you give away for free trial that brings them in, and then, they want this other feature that they need to pay for,
Yeah.
right? Like a template SaaS offering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, when you start thinking about your music as that product, like what is that? Is the free thing the album? Today it is because you're putting it on Spotify essentially for
Mm-hmm.
free.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's the free trial, what's the full product? And how do
Mm-hmm.
you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think most people think it's merch and concerts. I don't know. I think that's changing,
Mm-hmm.
especially when there's different ecosystems you can build around an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can always upload it onto like a Google Music and sell units there, right? Like Spotify, it's free for you, but for a user who doesn't want to pay ads, they have to pay. If it's somebody who doesn't pay, they have to listen to the ads.
Right.
So like it's finding accessibility where can you? You want your music to be everywhere. You never know that your fans are like Apple users, right? And
Yeah.
you're looking at the numbers, you'll sell more there. So it's using knowing your demographic. It's how I fucking research, man. That's why you hire somebody to do all that
Because
shit.
I hired someone.
You just
Yeah.
keep doing music. You
Yeah.
drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. I do that. So professionally, I'm a data scientist.
Mm,
And so, yeah, I do that all day. How do I
yeah.
use this data, predict stuff and grow the business?
You're the analytics guy, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, what's they called now? God, what's the name? Like what they call it on social media that like algorithm?
Yeah. The algorithm.
Yeah. Is that essentially what you work on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like machine learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I do some of that. Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
That's like a recommendation system, an
Yeah.
algorithm
I
to
fucking
recommend videos and
I
stuff.
fucking hate that with a passion. I
Do
think that's
you?
what yeah, because like I think like and I don't know if I'm operating based on like logical and gut feeling. I don't know how it fully works when I say it, but I feel like the algorithm works in where you like this, you see this video, you liked it once. Now it's gonna fucking give you a shitload of videos like that, right? And it keeps doing that until you find something else you like, and it keeps doing that again. And we're losing the sense of inspiration. We're losing the sense of spark. Like
Yeah.
if you put a clip of your music out there, right? You do like a small video, you make a reel about it, and you put it out there, right? And because this algorithms keep pumping shit, you know, I'm not going to be able to find that inspiration moment or that spark and like, damn, I just found Jay Henry here.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think the worst at this is actually YouTube. I've
Yes.
noticed that where I watch like one random video on like a cop chase. I don't know. And all of a sudden I have 10 recommendations for cop chase videos. I'm like, no, I watched it once. Like I don't want to watch that all the time. Um, and TikTok is actually the best, where it understands that just because you watch that once doesn't mean you want to watch it over and
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
There's a concept of let's just call it randomness,
Hmm.
right? So a great algorithm recommendation system understands that you want to introduce some randomness into the recommendations. So in the 10 that I give you, 8 will be relevant to what we or the company has found out about you.
Mm.
And 2 will be completely random. They're still like within the realm, right? But they're not going to be exact matches, if you will. And in that way, you learn a little bit more. You introduce the opportunity for creativity, inspiration, or like discovering something new,
Which is not bad,
which is not bad.
right?
But, you know, it's hard to find what that balance should be, and most recommendation systems aren't good at it.
Got it. Got it. All right. So, like, have you been able to perform your album and in front of an audience?
I have, yeah. So for my birthday, I did a full end-to-end album performance. That was almost like a play. I found some random warehouse that kind of fit the vibe. I had multiple outfit changes. Um, I had longer hair and I cut it off in front of everyone during one of the songs. It was very theatrical in a way. So it kind of was the play I was kind of thinking of writing now, but so
Did you
yeah,
film it?
I did.
All right. So you don't need to do that. That's right. That's your content right there.
There you go. There's a
Chop,
play.
chop it up and boom, put it out there.
Yeah. Like you said, I need to hire an assistant. But like throw it at them.
Yeah.
Create this sound cool.
Go do this. Yeah, man. Editing is a pro. I hate editing, man. I'm working toward going to a place and we're like, all I have to do is walk in, do the show, and leave.
Yeah.
Because it's like I time is a commodity that you cannot duplicate,
Yeah.
replenish,
Yeah.
or you know, gain again, right?
Yeah.
So I don't I like what I do, but I don't like spending time doing the same thing.
Right.
I wanna same reason why I left corporate America, right? I used to be operation manager. I ran shitload of facilities under 200 people under my belt, and every day it was different when it came to drama, but it felt the same thing.
Yeah.
And the conversation was never about like a dream or progress or what you're doing. I mean, it was the
Yeah.
same shit. And that drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Like routine is something that kills me. Unless it's the same routine, but you have different things component coming in each and time, right? And I started doing this. And now I'm at a point where like I just put a message out there and people would say, hey, I want to come on your show. All right, let's do it, right? And just building towards I just want to show up and go,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because you don't want like if you love something, that what you love, you want to treat it like a 9 to 5 so that you never become burnout, you never lose love for it, right? Because it can be overwhelming at times. And you
Yeah.
don't feel like the majority of times I feel like when we first started, I had anxiety. Like it's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
And this is my third day where I recorded a new episode.
Oh, wow.
I still got tomorrow. I still got Friday, and that's if they don't cancel last minute.
Yeah.
So it's a constantly, it's a hustle,
Yeah, for sure.
you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, um, the 9 to 5 thing is interesting. So you're saying treat it like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to like treat it like a business, right? Be
Hmm.
professional about it.
Hmm. Not just that, but if you like it, right? Like if you, let's say, you like donuts, right? From Krispy Kreme, right? You like donuts, and oh man, you can't wait to savor that again. If you
Mm,
go eat it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's the piece of perfect of your enjoyment. So what do?
yeah,
You break it out. You said, okay, now every Friday or Friday, either Friday or Tuesday, I'll eat that.
yeah,
And then you grow you grow that, oh my God, I'm gonna eat this, right? And you have that discipline.
yeah,
With a regular 9 to 5, because you're working for other people, you're in this, fucking structural barrier. You're not doing it for yourself.
yeah,
And you also don't have anything that you're looking forward. Like
yeah,
it's the same thing. You had a fucking day at work, you leave, go home, spend time with your husband, eat, watch something on television, and go to sleep and shit. I gotta go back again. I gotta go
yeah,
back to work again, right?
yeah,
So if you take that concept and treat what you love as a 9 to 5, and we're like, bro, I've been recording all day. I have I have something in me. Maybe take a break. Let's get back at it tomorrow. When you come tomorrow, you're excited to do. and maybe
Yeah.
you having another break too, and you're like, oh, I gotta stop here, and then it's excitement. You're looking forward to go backward because of what you love. But if you have it 24/7, it's not gonna mean that much. You're gonna get
Right.
tired. You're gonna get burned out. Your passion is like, oh, I need a break.
Yeah.
And that break becomes a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year, 2 years, a decade, and you really never went back to
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's why I like breaking up with my husband every like couple of months. Yeah.
it.
I don't want to like 24/7.
Yeah.
Want some time away.
Well, that's different. You're married. I don't know. That's not even a good idea, right? But yeah, man. That's essentially how one would want it to work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Love that.
are you working on any new work? Are you recording anything new?
Yeah, I'm collaborating. I'm kind of in my collaborating mode, right?
Mm.
So a couple people have reached out, throwing a feature verse here and there. I like feature verses. I
Yeah.
love crafting a narrative in this album and the story, but there's something to be said about somebody already kind of has the topic or the theme, and you
Hmm.
just have to come write a 16. So much easier than writing like a full song. Um, yeah, they're so much fun. I'm in my like Jada Kiss, Lil Wayne mode right now.
Bars all the
All
way,
right.
right?
Hopefully.
But
Hopefully I'm in.
that's crazy because like in today modern music, like when you a song it used to have like a concept.
Yeah.
Now like a song is about love, but yeah, you're right about sneakers or cars or money. So it's not
Yeah.
there's no concept in there. There's no realm, like you say. Like in my opinion, what I've heard, you know.
Yeah. I think you're right that it's harder to find, but there's also more music. It's like a
Mhm.
100,000 songs uploaded every day, you
Yeah.
know? So it's harder to
And,
find,
and a lot of them suck.
a lot of them stuff, including that album that just came out, Love J. Henry. Fuck that
Nah. Nah, nah.
album.
No, but there's some that do. Not everybody can rap. Not everybody should rap,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you have gentlemen like you that are creative because you didn't just make an album. You made a play. You made a
Yeah.
concept. You made this whole thing, a whole world revolving. That's creativity.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that fuck, a lot would just fucking roll a blunt and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Let me smoke a black amount
Yeah.
and have no concept, no, talking about the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Guns and fucking hoes and bitches. Which, if you're not single, there's not nothing bad with that. But like, come on, man, I'm in my mid 30s. Give me some mature hip hop. Let me hear some bars, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you have like Eminem drop this fucking album, and everybody's going crazy because he's bringing bars back, but they hate him because he's white,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
But the only one who's actually doing it, and
Yeah.
that's to show you that people are craving for some rhythm, some rhymes,
Yeah.
some
Oh, for sure.
creativity.
Yeah. 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 100%. I mean, we're seeing more and more of that, with like you said, Eminem, but there's a lot of like new people coming out that I think are leaning more towards let me create an actual song with lyrics that mean something that
Mm-hmm.
don't just rely on what you spoke about, like the materialistic side of things. Like there's a bunch of people in Seattle, like Oblate Reed, Saint Dion, who, yeah, they're just telling a different story, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like meaningful and inspiring, and it's not just the same old shit, you
Good.
know?
I look
So
forward to hearing those gentlemen. What
yeah.
do you listen to get inspired? Like, what gets your creativity juices going?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, for this album, it was a lot of Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra, right? Because that
Nice.
was kind of the feeling I was going for. So that was more from like a sonic perspective. Vivaldi, The Four Seasons, was
Mm-hmm.
like one of the most inspirational albums, compositions I've ever heard. My Spotify Wrapped last year was like literally the entire album. Um, that's more like classical music. Um, let's see, Billie Eilish, her last album
Mm.
is like crazy because it's very cinematic. It's like a short 10 song, complete, well executed creative thought. And then it's just like, that's it.
Yeah, she's dope. I like her.
Yeah.
That Barbie song keeps fucking me up. Right? But it's another well concept song, well written. You know,
Yeah.
there's a meaning to the song. There's a concept. It's not going out of its layer to create
Yeah.
something else. It's the I don't know how long the song is, but it's like it's in that realm and it keeps it there and everything's structured and it's saying something,
Yeah.
right? So
And then from a hip hop perspective, like Kendrick Lamar, right? One of the greatest storytellers in hip hop. Um, Kanye West. I mean,
when
he's
he's
a
not going crazy, throwing
he's
one of
a,
these rhymes.
sometimes when he is going crazy, I don't know, but it depends on what he's saying. Depends on what
Yeah,
he's saying,
yeah.
you know. And then there's this one person I actually found on like an old hard drive, his album. And so I put it on my phone. I was listening to it recently, and I think they're not making music anymore. They're from New Jersey. They're called The Ills.
Never
Have you
heard
ever
of
heard of them? No. Super dope. Like incredibly dope. It's probably like if I reflect back on it, because I found them in college,
them.
um, I could hear a lot of inspiration in how I think about structuring songs and
Mm-hmm.
melodies and compositions when listening back to their album. They're just so like story driven and like soulful sounds and emotion and dope lyrics. Yeah,
Hmm.
super dope.
Yeah. So like, and there's a need for that because I can't listen to regular radio. I haven't been able to listen to it in a very long time. So like, I find myself going back to, you know, I want to say like where like earlier today I was listening to 16 Chamber Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah,
But then, I changed it back and I started listening to uh some country because country has,
yeah,
some storytelling, which I like.
for
It
sure.
gives you a concept and not all the songs, right? Then I changed that, then I'll go back. I was listening to Kamikaze, some shady, right?
Yeah.
And I like that album because it brings bars, it's saying something. Then I went back to Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent, which
Oh,
uh,
damn. I was listening to that today.
I love Many Men. I love that song with him, with M and Lloyd Banks. I just, you know, give me some bars, right?
Yeah,
Like growing up for me was very much like mixtapes,
for sure.
because
That
that's,
too. Two
you
dope
know,
boys.
yeah, that's, mostly I was a fan of like G Unit, a lot of underground like Tupac, Biggie, you're gonna get it, Holmes. We're in the danger zone, right? A lot of that because they had a lot of bars. They had a lot of like flavor. But
Yeah.
I often find myself looking, going back and listening to music like that because now I can't, I don't know because hip hop is a young man's game and they still have not developed like a mature rap.
Hmm.
It's not like JC 444, right? Or
Right.
like the one of the most mature albums of like hip hop I've ever heard was like Ryan Leslie,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He dropped an album, made no money off it, uh, but it was really good and it was like a mature hip hop, talking about as a grown person and whatnot, which was really very good, and it's an old album.
Yeah. Yeah. Was Ryan Leslie, I mean, I think they were more categorized R&B though, right? For the
Yeah,
most part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe that's what it is. It's like if it's too mature, it's like, well, that's not hip hop, that's something else.
yeah. I mean,
And
but he sings and rap.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He sings and rap, but like, yeah, I get what you're saying. But not even R&B is R&B anymore, you know?
Oh, I know. I mean, everything just sounds the same. Like country sounds like trap sometimes. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, trap drums? Like, what's going on?
Well, yeah, you got like this new artist which I like enjoy Shabuzi.
Yeah,
He,
Shabuzi.
he's country, but the way he's going about his lyrics, the way the song structure is like, if hip hop was a little bit more country, which is
Yeah,
essentially for me, is probably going to be the next big thing because if you have Beyonce doing something like that,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
but that's because there's a thirst, right? So they're thirsty for something new,
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah, I think I'd add on top of that, like there's a thirst for something
hmm
positive, right? That's not
hmm
just completely hateful and about
hmm
killing,
hmm
kind of like what you were saying, right? And again, not all hip hop's like that,
hmm
but it kind of started to feel like it was,
hmm
right? And there's a time, I mean, I listen to that music. I think a lot of people do, but you know, going back to what you were saying about like if you listen to it all the time, it gets a little tiresome.
hmm
So you want a little variety.
hmm
So,
No, yeah, 100%. What's your favorite song on the album?
mm, when?
When?
Yeah, it's the opening track after the intro. Yeah, so when is the track? It's about being a hopeless romantic.
Mm,
It was inspired by Vivaldi, lots of strings, violins, cellos, violas, um, very big, very orchestral, also inspired by Nat King Cole and a lot of his compositions or the compositions he sang on. But I love When because it's a song that means something different if you've listened through the album. Uh,
are you wearing like a beanie on the
yeah, so
cover?
on the album cover, yeah, I'm wearing a
Let
beanie.
me see
Yeah.
if I can show it here.
Oh yeah, that's me.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. The yellow beanie actually has become,
It's a nice color though. It's like with the background, like it's a nice cover.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I took that randomly during dinner once. Um, when is multifaceted. So you listen to it the first time listening to the album, you listen to the song, and likely your takeaway is going to be like, oh, this guy is really into love and he's really seeking it, right? You go through the album, the story arc, blah blah blah, and you realize, oh, this guy doesn't know anything about love, super naive,
Mm,
ignorant about the fact that it's hard, blah blah blah. And then for me, you listen to it again, and it almost takes on the meaning of this character went through the trials and tribulations of love and still believes wholeheartedly in it, right? And the hopeless romantic aspect of like, yeah, it's challenging, but it's also worth it. So that's why I love that song. It's because it's like a prism.
yeah,
It looks different depending on which angle you're looking at.
got it. No, I feel that. That's dope. I can't wait to listen. I just started following it. Last question before we go. What song did you? Because if it started about a letter to your husband, then it became
Yeah.
something like learn about yourself. There has to be a song in where you dedicate to your husband. There has to be a song dedicated to him. Which one?
Yeah.
Which one is it, or Which one would it be?
There's a song called Moments.
Mm,
Um, and it has this incredible singer on it, Charles Zade, who I grew up with. And he has a couple albums himself. Um, Crazy singer. Has like a really dope like 2000s R&B vibe.
mm,
Um, but anyway, the song itself has a jazzy vibe. And it's about the little moments that you fall in love with someone,
mm,
right? And um, yeah, I really think about that song as like a dedication to anyone that's had to fall in love in private, right? The queer community or, someone that, may be in a relationship that their parents don't agree with, whatever that may be, or I don't know, it's, you know, um, just some circumstance that didn't allow you to just love each other fully in public for everyone to see. And so you had to find these little moments together in which you fell deep into this relationship. So that's the song I dedicate to him.
Wow, that's beautiful. That was very beautiful and very moving. He's a lucky
Thank
man.
you. Yeah,
Um,
I know.
Jay. Jay, it's been an honor talking to you, man. It's been a pleasure. We have to do this again. So
Yeah, let's,
when you get your play out or when you have a new album, feel free to hit me up. We'll have you
all
back.
right.
We'll talk about it a little bit more. Before we go, please tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on any social media, the dot J Henry. So that's THEE dot J Henry. And then on Spotify, J dot Henry or Apple Music.
Boom. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go follow him. Make sure you check out his new music. Make sure you share and help him out to grow his passion, his love. And say what's up, you know. Make sure to go follow me on Instagram, Mr. Go follow me on Facebook, Theo Mark King Diaz. Go like and subscribe our YouTube channel, DIOTALK TV. We are on Rumble now, the platform where freedom of speech, right? So we don't have to be censored no more. Yeah. Have a good night, guys. I'm out.